Every night your body shuts down, but where does your awareness go? You close your eyes, hours pass, and yet there are gaps you can't account for. Not in memories, but in perception. It's not just sleep, it's something else. Science calls it unconsciousness, but that only describes what can't be measured, not what actually happens. The truth is, your awareness doesn't disappear. It disconnects from this layer of experience and begins functioning elsewhere. And most of us return with no memory of where we've been. What happens in deep sleep is more than rest. It's a shift into something rarely spoken of and even more rarely remembered. In this video, we're going to explain what really happens to your awareness during deep sleep. Not the usual definition, but what your senses can't track and your memory can't hold. You'll understand why sleep isn't just rest, why dreams feel more real than they should, and what you might be doing or meeting while your body stays still. 1. Your body sleeps, but your mind doesn't stay here. Deep sleep is often misunderstood as unconsciousness, but it's not a blackout, it's a disconnection. While your body enters repair and recovery, your conscious awareness is no longer anchored in the physical senses. That doesn't mean it ceases, it just stops processing this particular version of reality. Research into EEG patterns during deep sleep shows near-complete sensory detachment. But consciousness, as we understand it, may not be confined to brainwave activity alone. In some cases, people have reported experiences in deep sleep that suggest awareness continues without any waking memory, almost like it logs out of one system and logs into another. If awareness truly requires a physical body to exist, we wouldn't have thousands of documented cases where individuals return from deep sleep with knowledge, visions, or information they couldn't have accessed otherwise. The mind doesn't sleep, it just leaves the room. 2. Your dreams are dimensional echoes, not just mental noise. Many believe dreams are random firings of the brain, but that view assumes consciousness is limited to the brain itself. In reality, dreams often carry symbols, situations, and people that have no basis in your waking life, and yet feel intimately familiar. Some dream researchers propose that dreams may be your consciousness tuning into other layers of experience, just as a radio picks up signals from different stations. The dream might not be imagination at all. It might be exposure to another place, another version of you, or a residual trace of something once lived. If you've ever had a dream that felt more real than waking life, you've touched the edge of this idea. These aren't just metaphors created by neurons. They're fragments of something that isn't gone, just usually out of reach. 3. Sleep is a portal, not a shutdown. During the deepest stages of sleep, the brain stops monitoring the environment. Heart rate slows, muscles relax, sensory input is reduced to almost nothing. But this state, rather than being empty, is where strange things begin to happen. You stop receiving external signals, and that's when internal ones become louder. Many traditions describe sleep not as a break, but as a passage, something that allows your awareness to cross out of the physical interface and into a different configuration of experience. You might not remember where you go, but the act of leaving is consistent. We tend to think of sleep as something passive, but what if it's active, just not in this field? You don't disappear, you relocate. 4. The subconscious takes over, but it doesn't act alone. Most assume that sleep is where the subconscious mind takes over completely, sorting, dreaming, remembering. But this overlooks something important. The subconscious isn't the only presence active when conscious thought steps aside. In states where ego and identity are suspended, other forms of intelligence may enter. You've likely had moments, dreams, flashes, feelings, where something seemed to communicate with you, and it didn't feel like your own mind doing the talking. Whether you call them archetypes, guides, or energies, there's long been belief and evidence in dreams and altered states that the subconscious isn't isolated. It interacts. And when your surface mind is quiet, those interactions become possible. 5. Recurring dreams aren't random. They're messages you've ignored too long. Most recurring dreams aren't comforting. They're persistent. They bring the same scenario, the same emotion, the same ending, over and over. Not because your brain is stuck, but because something wants to be noticed, and it hasn't been. Patterns in dreams often point to conflicts or questions you've avoided, but more interesting is the timing. Recurring dreams tend to show up when you're nearing something, an insight, a decision, a change. The repetition isn't malfunction, it's emphasis. You may not be aware of what the dream is pointing to, but the fact that it returns is itself a signal. Something knows you're ready, or at least close, to seeing what you've refused to see while awake. 6. Nightmares are gatekeepers, not enemies. Nightmares are often written off as bad dreams, but the intensity of a nightmare isn't accidental. It usually appears when a hidden truth or internal boundary is being approached. The fear isn't there to scare you. It's there to stop you from going further until you're ready. In many reports, people who face their nightmares instead of running wake up with deep clarity, not just relief. That terror has a function. It acts like a gate. On the other side of it is something you're meant to reclaim or confront, and the mind protects that space until it's safe to access. It's easy to dismiss nightmares as emotional static, but they often occur during transitions, personal, emotional, spiritual. They're not threats. They're signals that you're getting close to something that matters. 7. Sleep paralysis isn't a glitch. It's an interruption between worlds. When you're in sleep paralysis, your body won't move, but your mind is fully awake. You can see, hear, sometimes even feel, but you're trapped. Most people describe it as terrifying. Some see figures, others sense pressure, but what's consistent is the in-between feeling. Sleep paralysis occurs during REM cycles. Your mind wakes up before your body does. But many report more than paralysis. They describe presence, observation, sometimes even communication. These aren't hallucinations, they're something else, and they're more common than most realize. Rather than a mistake, sleep paralysis might be a moment where your awareness hasn't finished returning. You're not in the dream. You're not fully back in your body either. You're in the thin layer that separates them, and it's not always empty. 8. Some people in dreams aren't from your mind. Most faces in dreams are forgotten. Some stick with you, but occasionally you meet someone in a dream who feels different. Not just emotionally intense, but real. As if they weren't a character created by your brain, but a visitor. Some dream researchers and mystics alike suggest that not everyone in your dream was generated by you, that some figures carry independent awareness, ones you've met before but can't recall in waking life, or ones you'll meet again but only under certain conditions. Whether you accept this or not, one thing is hard to deny. Not all dream characters behave like symbols. Some respond, some lead, and some, according to many, aren't easy to forget, even after everything else fades. 9. Time doesn't work the same when you're out of body. You fall asleep and minutes later you wake up, or so it seems. But sometimes in that short window, you've experienced hours, days, even lifetimes within a dream. It doesn't feel exaggerated, it feels lived. That's because time inside the dreaming or sleeping state doesn't behave like time here. When you're no longer tied to the physical experience, your perception stretches. Some traditions say this is because you're no longer syncing with a fixed rhythm. You're processing experience by content, not by clock. This explains why certain dreams feel incredibly long, rich and layered, even when the alarm goes off just 10 minutes after you fell asleep. Your sense of how long isn't broken. It's just operating on a completely different structure. 10. You often wake up forgetting what you actually experienced. Most people think they just don't dream, but research shows nearly everyone dreams multiple times per night and forgets almost all of it within moments of waking. This isn't failure, it's design. The conscious mind isn't meant to retain everything experienced during sleep. Some believe this is for protection, because certain experiences would destabilize your sense of identity or challenge your beliefs too directly. Others say it's simply a limit of awareness. Either way, the absence of memory doesn't mean absence of experience. What you remember is the residue, the part your waking self is able to hold on to. What you forget may be far more significant than what you recall. If you have made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.